What is up, everybody? It's Matt Johnson. We are back with another episode of Real Estate Uncensored. This is the place where you get actionable ideas, insight, and inspiration to turn your real estate career into a life of freedom. And clearly Greg is here today, as you can both hear and see, because he's making his crazy hand motions and overriding me because his microphone is way too loud. I'm going to have to fix that. But anyway, first of all, welcome to the Friday show. This is going to be a ton of fun, and we're going to go deep on a few things. We've got Gene Volpe here, the Volpinator, the Evil Bald Ninja, with a marketing and or tech tip. And we have Coach Hank Avink with us today, and we're going deep on time management. So we're going to talk about how to really manage your calendar, your schedule, how to stick with it, how to really set the right priorities so that the right things go into your calendar and all that good stuff. So first of all, before I welcome in the gentleman that we have on the show with us today, I'll welcome in the very ungentlemanly Greg McDaniel, my co-partner and co-host. What's up today?
First off, bite me. Second off, thank you for the nice introduction. You know what, guys? I got to tell you something really interesting, and I think the four of us on the show today will get a kick out of that. If any of you guys have were watching my live lead generation yesterday, you'll see the fact that I was wearing a shirt that said "Nope, not today" on it, and I was wearing my hoodie, and I was just not dressed at all to go meet with a client. I was doing some energy release, some meditation, some other stuff earlier in the morning, and I was talking about new business, having an amazing day, and some other stuff. Didn't really know what that day was going to look like when it came fully around, and something amazing took place. I got a referral call from a guy I have not talked to 3+ years because of drug problems on his end. Him threatening to kill me. Little side note there.
No, who hasn't done that?
I know, seriously. Intravenous drugs and threatening to murder your friends, normal stuff.
No, I mean specifically you, Greg. Who hasn't threatened to murder you? That's really where I was going with that, but okay.
Okay, this is what happened. I got a call. And this guy goes, "Hey, man, so-and-so referred me to you." I'm like, "Oh, how do you know so-and-so?" He's like, "Oh, I'm from down the bars, yada, yada." I'm like, "Okay." And this guy, he calls me up to his house, and he and I walk around total casual. I told him I'm super casual. He's like, "No problem, bro. Come on up." Literally sitting there with a baseball hat on. The shirt says "Nope, not today," with a hoodie on, cruising and just chatting, and very easily going to be able to get about a $2.5 million listing just by the referral. And I want to really go deep on referrals. Send out cards is an amazing opportunity to get deep referrals. Working your sphere of influence is an amazing opportunity to get referrals, but you'll never know where they're going to come from if you don't keep nurturing your sphere of influence and your friends and your family, and don't do it with an intention of getting a result right away, but with the intention of building a relationship for a long-term, just relationship with them, which then the business will come back to you. And you don't always have to be over the top dressed to get a high-end listing. It's all about the relationship.
So, let me just sum up the lesson here, Greg. Mm-hmm. You learned to be lazy in the morning, not put on pants, and you still got like a $2 million referral. Are you telling me that's the lesson you took away from this?
Pants off, dance off, baby. You know it.
All right, now I have to, before we bring in the other guys, I have to make a point about Greg's whole look today, because if you're watching this, you'll know what I mean. If you're listening to this after the fact, let me set the scene. Greg he has allowed his beard to grow a bit. He's got a black dress shirt and a black blazer on. And so please, in the audience, anyone with a modicum of Photoshop skills, I have an assignment for you. Here's the meme. Here's the quote meme that I would like to see. I'm going to see a screenshot of Greg overlaid with this text. "I don't often eat Cheez-Its, but when I do, I pull them from my beard."
Ooh. Oh. You think that's just gray? No, man, that's orange. That's Cheez-It orange right there.
Right. I'm going to start calling that the Cheez-It beard. Enough for him to store like half a bag in there. All right. So first of all, let's bring in. So Hank, you were barely containing yourself over there while Greg was talking about referrals, because I think you've probably got thank you notes and friendship collages and stuff that people have sent you. I'm guessing that's what you were holding up, like a friendship collage. So feel free to jump in and welcome, by the way.
Yeah. Great to have me back, or great to be back, guys. Great to have me back. So this was a card that was sent to me. Now think about this. This card was sent to me, and it's all about my family. And what are the chances of me thinking about the person that sent this card on a regular basis? I mean, these are cards that you don't get rid of. I mean, so I had an anniversary, and someone took all the pictures from Facebook and sent me a collage and something cool about our life. And I mean, guys, that's how you connect with people. You don't connect with people by saying, "Hey, here's a real estate postcard. Are you thinking about buying or selling?" No, this is 2017. You connect by being a human being.
Yeah,
love it.
You really do. I mean, just as one of the all-time favorites that Matt likes to beat on me for, this is my favorite send-out card. Yes, that is me in all my glory in my Century 21 jacket. But this is a send-out card, and boy, did this stand out to me. I kept this. I laughed my ass off. Matt ridiculed me, so we were par for the course. But it was great.
That is par for the course. All right. Well, let's welcome in our final gentleman of the hour, the evil bald ninja himself, Gene Volpe. What's up today?
What up, y'all? You know how you know it's winter?
How?
What's up?
Yeah, big beards?
The Philadelphia Eagles are losing?
Everybody's got a... Wow, listen. Well, then it must not be winter, baby, because they're the best team in the NFL. So what's up?
Apparently so. I don't know. It's going to be an Indian summer.
Well, wait, here we go. Wait, hold on. So wait, you know how you know it's winter? When Matt Johnson makes a sports reference. Are you serious?
You realize that Greg is the one that doesn't watch sports. You realize that I grew up going to Husker football games and watching football.
We're talking time management today, fuckers. Let's get on that.
Exactly. Thank you, Hank.
You got the wrong one on this one, then. I'm the worst. Like, oh, look, a cat. Oh. No, I missed last week. I'm all fired up, man. We didn't do it last week. I'm loaded for bear today for 3 minutes.
And you get probably good. Thank God for 3 minutes. All right. All right. So first of all, thanks to everyone that's watching live. Paul, William, Bruce, Gail, Rebecca, Teresa, guys, thank you so much. Let us know that you're here. Let us know where you're from so we can keep you in mind for referrals. And if you hear something that you like and you agree with and is helpful, make sure to hit that like and heart button and let us know. So Hank, let's start out with kind of what's been on your mind. Actually, there's a great question that might lead us into this that we'd like to address, because I think you'd have probably the best way to handle this, because I feel like, Hank, you are the best at very powerfully telling people that I'm not going to do that. So here's the question that I'm going to pose to you. So John Wigfall, this is in the Lead Gen Scripts group, says, my buyer placed an offer on a house that was accepted, and now she wants to see 10 additional properties, even after showing me how they don't fit her stated criteria. What do you guys do in this situation? So Hank, please, Hank all over this.
Well, I think it goes back to setting the original expectations, and we don't deal with motherfuckers. So it sounds like there's indications that there may have been clues that she's a motherfucker before it even happened. So it all goes back to standards. And if you do a great job interviewing your clients, and as soon as you think that there may be an indication of that, what I want you to do is I want you to pause and slow down. And I think the bigger thing is before it even got to that, there was indicators that this might be a problem. And I just say, hey, great. It sounds like you want to have me be a glorified door opener, and here's my rate for that. Meaning you want me to show you homes that I'm not going to be paid a commission on because you're not buying more than one home, and my rate's $10,000 an hour. Would you like to sign here? Or, I mean, I do something like that. Yet I don't run into that a lot, because as soon as I sniff something's not a good fit, I slow down. Kind of like when I didn't hire Greg as a coaching client.
This is going to be an ever-running joke for as long as we're friends.
Yeah, but now here's the thing: is now we're working together because we got on the same page, and I feel 100% certainty that we can both get the desired outcome on the desired same path. So, guys, sometimes the best thing that you can do is just not hire on clients that aren't the right fit.
Yeah, I agree, and that comes from a scarcity mentality.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, Hank and I were talking about that off air about different clientele and question and answer kind of these scenarios. You know, as I'm a fledgling, birdie jumping out of the nest here, probably going to land hard on my chest. But in the coaching world, that Hank and I were laughing about it, the fact that you're going to get some good, you're going to get some bad, but you have to be clear about your intentions on where you want to go. So if you want to be a glorified door opener, God bless you, have a good time. You should wear a little hat and be a chauffeur at the same time, but. That's not what your job is, guys. And I love Hank's approach on it because it's so clear, so concise, and so over the top on pricing. People are definitely going to get the point. Look, I'm not your bitch. I'm your real estate agent. So if you want someone to be your bitch, I'm not that person. Go find them. We need to help you buy a house first. Mm-hmm. And people get led around by their neck all the time like a dog on a leash because they feel that they have to, because they're afraid, again, the scarcity mindset. They're afraid if they don't do everything that client wants and needs, then they're going to be let go and they're not going to get their deal because they're attached to the outcome.
Write this down. Some of the best deals you'll do are the deals that you don't.
Oh, God, so true.
Some of the best deals you'll do are the deals that you don't.
Yeah, dude, that's a great line.
By the way, Dan Jacobson is watching. So, Hank, I need you to hang up and show off your kettle. Dude, this is what I saw this in the background. And I'm like, wait, Hank, don't you have one of these? And we show.
Here's Here's the cool thing. Here's an example of being a human being. We had a connection, we had a contact, we had a conversation, and then the dude went out of his way to send us this gift. Now, here's two people, and two people arguably that are influential in his life and the real estate world, and we both had this in a place that it could be seen, so we're thinking of him. And Dan's one of the best dudes that I've ever met. That dude has a heart of gold, and now here we are having a conversation because, I mean, he took the minute to send a gift that made a big impression.
Mm-hmm. Huge. I haven't used it yet because I'm afraid if I put beer in it, it's going to smell like shit. So I'm just using it for water, but it's awesome.
I'm afraid I'll end up wasted.
I know.
All right, so Gene, let's turn to you for a second. I'm just curious, and then I want to hear your social media or tech tip. But how do you rein in expectations when people inevitably ask you to do more than they have really hired you to do?
That's always been tough for me. You probably have gathered. If I sat with Hank I can already tell by his personality, we would hit it off for 15 minutes. I would tell him how I run my business, and he would probably choke me to death. You know, like I believe me, I can already sense it. You know, because I'm I do a lot of good things. I'll work for a Panera salad and 2 glasses of wine, which leads me to a thought process real quick. I don't know what it says about me, but I have one of those things. Hank, you just had that bottle you had. Yeah. And I have one of those from an old client of mine, but it happens to be a wine bottle opener. Does that say anything about me that I use that 45 times a week and I know her name all the time because of it?
No.
I love it.
Just good utility use.
Hey, can I jump on that for a minute? Because here's the thing is, I believe that you should be able to give a human being time. There's a great book called Give and Take, and I do 10% of my schedule is volunteer. After that, I'm doing a disservice to my family and my family tree if I'm giving away more than 10% because it's not sustainable and I'm lying to my family on what I say that I'm doing. When I do charity work, I do charity work. When I work, and I will give 10% of my schedule that I'm working to not get paid on. Yet above and beyond that, I think it's being irresponsible to your family.
I think that's great. That helps me a lot. I mean, but here's the practice in theory becomes this, and I would ask you to help me with this right here. Suppose you get to a point where you're so generous that it becomes expected. How do you switch that gear?
Here's the thing is say, hey, you know what? I care about my family more than I care about you. Is that a problem?
Okay.
And if they say, yeah, it is, we'll say, fuck you. You didn't care about me anyway, so see ya. I mean, so the reality is I think it's all about standards. And if people expect it, just say, hey, we can have a call. It's just going to be, like with the McDaniel Challenge, it's going to be a year out. So when we use things like time trade to schedule, you can set certain parameters, and it may be 30, 40, 50, 60 days out to get a call.
Yeah, and people don't have a problem. Matt? God damn it, you fucking muted me, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, because we can hear everything you're doing, all the moving around, all the drinking.
Does that bother you? Should I be like this? Does this bother you?
I feel like Adam Carolla and Dr. Drew, like trying to keep him from like picking up his cell phone and tapping
we're talking time management, fuckers. You're wasting time.
Yeah, good. We want to get to Gene's tech tip or social media. So he's got 2 weeks of them built up.
No, that's not true. This one sucks. You ready for it?
Okay. Way to give yourself a good lead in.
No, listen, I was on this to mess with you guys. I mean, I thought it was great when I first logged on. I haven't seen you in 2 weeks with a beard, and I was like, Jesus, is that you? And it turns out, because I thought I was going to be able to get out and go to church on Sunday, but I guess that wasn't the case. As soon as I heard you talk and drop the second F-bomb, I knew who it was. But anyway.
Nope, it's not Christ. It's just Greg.
It's just Greg. Still one of my favorites, though. Still one of my favorites.
The Vatican. No worries. It's okay.
Listen, I'm a parishioner at the Church of McDaniel. You know that.
Oh, God.
So here's the deal. This one's called Buzzsumo. So Buzzsumo.com. It's a website that actually tracks and trends and looks at all the latest stats and info. And the reason why I brought this up is because I had a conversation with my social media tech team lead this morning. And we were going through some changes in the Facebook algorithm. And I'm like, where do you always get this great information at? And she said, Buzzsumo. And so if you go on there, you can see, and just from a simplicity perspective, for agents that are always looking for content to post and share and repost, you can do searches on here on keywords, and it'll show you the most engaged, shared, liked posts that are out there on the web. And so if Facebook and other people in the world are telling you that's content that people like, maybe you can use some of it or spin off of it and make a video off of it, something along those lines. So Buzzsumo will keep you up to snuff on all the latest comings and goings, why your organic reach on Facebook has gone through the floor, and what you do to fix it, and how much Matt loves Twitter because he has 45,000 followers and all that good stuff. And
don't you mean 4 to 5 followers?
I don't even think he has an account. He probably doesn't have an account.
Well, it's not one that I post to. It may be one that's set up and the company posts to. That's about it. Anyway,
so I want to jump on. I think that's awesome for posting on this stuff. Hank, you and I sat down all last week, a week ago today, Saturday, and then Sunday morning. Sunday morning is something that really has stuck out to me, and I told Matt about this when he and I connected on Sunday evening, kind of doing a debrief and kind of what our next steps were off of what I took away from the 2.5 day event. By the way, any motherfuckers want to learn how to be a coach? See the dude in the orange hat right there? You're going to sign up for his 2.5 day. You're going to fly to Kalamazoo, God knows where, take 3 fucking planes, trains, and automobiles to get there, have your baggage lost, and then get delayed on flights. But it's going to be worth it, okay? And all jokes aside,
think about this, though. We talk about time management and priorities. I have you guys coming to Kalamazoo, Michigan in November. Why? Because my priorities are straight, and so I can be with my family. Let you guys travel.
No, it's very, very true. And this is the part that I want to talk about. On Sunday morning, there was a few of us that stayed, a bunch of them had left, and we were talking about our calendars and time management. And you started with me. I was on your left-hand side. We went around the horseshoe, the way we were set up for the class. And you're like, Greg, what's your how accountable are you to your calendar? I'm like, B plus A. You're like, wow, really? Then as we went through the rest of the folks, it steadily decreased down to D's, D minuses, because people are not responsible for their time and for their time worth on their calendar for the things that they said that they would do. Therefore, it directly affects their income and their status in the industry. And they wonder why things don't work. Hank, why do people not respect their calendar? What is the major cluster F there when it's so easy just to put something in? It gives you a fucking alarm, says, hey, 10 minutes from now, you have something to do. And you're like, I'll do that later. Why do they do that?
I think there's many reasons. One is scarcity versus abundance. 2 is they think that it will smother them and they like the freedom. And here's the reality is when people react, they're coming from scarcity. When people respond, they're coming from abundance. When people react, it's short-term income. When people respond, it's long-term income. And usually when people react, it's out of fear. And when people respond, it's out of faith and it's out of having a life. And so the thing is with most real estate agents, they see an email come across, they got to be like, I got to respond. No, you don't. We're not saving lights. Follow your fucking schedule. Because there's going to be 2 agents. You give me an agent where we map out what needs to be in their schedule. And if they follow it to a T, we know the result. And then we have an agent that doesn't follow their schedule because some little fire comes up because somebody didn't do their job or some closing's not going to happen. So they change their whole world. And I guarantee you the agent that follows their schedule will have a higher net income. Yeah, they may lose out on a deal here and there. Yet the predictability of following their income will give them their freedom back. It'll give better relationships. Yet most people are spoiled little bitches and they want to just feel good about themselves. So they respond to things and they're always available. I don't answer my phone. I don't do email. I'm about to give up Facebook Messenger, and I'm 4 to 5 weeks out just to have a half-hour phone call with me. And we'll make 2 commas next year, and we're going to gross over $300,000 net in our second year running our business. Net. We're not talking gross. Net.
And that's purely from following your schedule, being religious about what you put in there. And it's like a garden. Any of you guys have gardens out there? You know when you have a garden, you got to put the right soil, got to get the right seeds, and then you have to look after those seeds. You water them, and you can make sure there's the right sunshine in there. And then when you see a weed, you root that fucking thing out, and you throw it away because it will kill what you planted. And weeds can be, like you said, if fire pops up on a deal, your spouse has something that goes on, you've got to get your team around you to protect you like the Great Wall of China. Nothing comes between you and your calendar and your scheduled events, but you work around what's real for you in your life. But then stick to it, man. You've got to stick to it. The rewards you're going to see in 6 or 12, 18 months from now are going to be staggering. But, I mean, hey, time's going to go by one way or the other. Either you can put work in towards your goal or not. It's really up to you. You're going to get a result one way or the other. You're going to like it or you're not. End of story.
Well, let me throw this out to you, Hank, because this is something I was talking about this morning with Pasquale, who's been on the show before. He's been working with us on our mastermind and helping us to get more effective at individual performance coaching. And we're just talking about the role of caring, right? How much do you really care about your goals, right? We're generally horrible at setting goals, but when we do, well, I think one of the symptoms of not caring about those goals enough is the time management, right? So time management, there, like you mentioned, there's a lot of reasons, but I'd love to hear your perspective on that in terms of, the lack of time management, a lot of times being traced to setting goals that we don't really care about. They are what he calls stated goals as opposed to actual goals, right? The actual goals are the ones we'll actually change for, right? So Hank, how do you overcome that when you have people that they've set goals that sound good to them and sound good to other people? They're really not their actual goals because they're not willing to change their daily behavior for them.
Well, so what I do is I say, okay, let's look at the last 7 days of your schedule. And if we fast forward for 12 months, what does that get us to? And if it's not going to get us to where we want, then we set a schedule for the next 7 days and we do those activities and see if you're actually willing to do them. And then your schedule is going to dictate what your outcomes are going to be and what your activities are. And so I don't really set goals with people. I set a schedule and then I see what they'll actually freaking do with that schedule. And then from there, we can predict what our outcomes are going to be. Mm-hmm. So I think setting goals is just basically, smoking, because the reality is so many people, I'm going to double my business. Well, listen, jackass, you're already working 60 hours a week. What are you going to do? Put 120 hours in? Oh, you still want to go to every closing? Oh, you still want to do this? Oh, you still want to do that? Okay. And your family's a priority. You're such a schmuck. No, it's not.
That's very, very true.
Well, it is, because what's going to happen is they'll just not put, sorry.
Thank you. We were down there last week with you, and me and another gentleman made a pact together to not drink during the week, right? It's something that we had to do. I got to tell you right now, man, I have honored that pact 100%. I feel fucking amazing. This is too much for information for most of you guys, but today I took a photo of myself and I said week 1, I want to see the progression change in my own physical body based upon my dedication to my agreements to myself to honor something I would or would not do in my calendar. And so, it could be physical, it could be business, it could be anything else, but I made a pact with John in front of everyone that was videotaped to take action on something that's changed my life.
This right now. Do this. Look up the definition of high-functioning alcoholic, because I bet 90% of you watching right now are a high-functioning alcoholic.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. When you said that to me.
What makes you say that, Hank?
What's that?
What makes you say that, Hank? Just knowing the real estate industry?
Thousands of agents, and many of them are numbing their existence with alcohol or other things. And my question to you is, what are you numbing your life with? We all have our vices that we numb ourselves with. And what I find with most real estate agents is they're numbing their life with alcohol. And if you look up high-functioning alcoholic, you'd be surprised at how many people would actually fall into that definition.
Wow. I've never heard anybody say that before. That's insane.
Yeah. It's kind of scary. It's kind of sad, actually.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's the reason why when Hank said that. It was a very emotional 2.5 days. I think everybody fucking cried at least twice.
A day.
A day. No joke. And when Hank said that to me, he wasn't looking at me, but he was talking to me. And I needed to make that change, and I knew I had to make that change. And it was something I was ready to come forward with and talk to people about. And so, yeah, I have been a high-functioning alcoholic for a number of years. And that part of my life is going to die. I'm going to still drink, but I'm not going to drink to excess levels where it's unhealthy.
You're setting standards around it.
Yes, I am. Standards for my life, my body, my future.
You no longer have to think about it. And this is what we're talking about with time management is we're going to set standards around when we say yes and when we say no. And then we're going to follow those standards so we don't have to think. And whether it's around drinking or time management, once you set standards, all you got to do is follow your schedule.
Yeah, and that's not hard, but you have to be ready and willing to make those decisions and changes in your life. So if you're tired of being flat broke, then make the changes start off small. Like when I started working out again and everything else, or swimming, I would go down and do 20 laps. Then 30, then 40, then 50, then 70, then 80, then 100. I waded into the pool. I didn't jump into the deep end where I drowned, and I got out as soon as I could breathe again. I made it fun. I made it attainable. So start with an hour a day. Go with 5 phone calls, 10 phone calls. Start somewhere where you guys find this fun and you can gamify it, and then build upon your business from there. So it's not going to be super hard when you do 100 calls, 200, 500. Guys, I did over almost 1,200 calls this week, and it wasn't that hard.
More than most will do in a year.
I know, but I got a $2.5 million listing, referral, and I found an investor that wants to buy a lot of money, buy a lot of property with all cash, just from doing the calls, because I dedicated myself to my schedule. And people don't see the grind because they don't want to go through that grind, because that's the part that sucks balls on a hot day after you go running. Because you day after day after day after day, you don't see no progression. Bam, you get something, and it feels better than anything you could ever imagine. To see the fruits from your hard labor. I mean, Gene, in your end of the market, I mean, you probably see a lot of people on the marketing side that are, well, Gene, this isn't working, that isn't working, this isn't working. You're like, dude, homie, you got to put a schedule down, and you got to wait for this thing to come. Oh my God, he's shirtless.
What is going on?
Oh,
I don't know. I want to talk about time management. We keep getting trailed. So.
Oh my God.
That was funny.
This thing froze up. All of a sudden, came back, and I saw Hank shirtless.
For those of you listening, Hank, for some reason, decided to change out of a T-shirt and into a hoodie live.
It was a pattern interrupt. Let's not get bunny trailed at all. People suck at time management, and we're sucking at time management right now. So unless it's on time management, let's not spend more than 6 seconds. Sound fair?
Sounds good.
Good. Go.
Good. Start talking, Hank.
Yeah, so this is your show now.
Well, here's what we want to look at as we want to look at pain versus pleasure. A lot of people don't follow their schedule because they choose significance, meaning they do something that makes them feel good versus making money. Now, the assumption that I'm going to make is what you do for making money also makes you feel good, yet you're a spoiled little bitch and you don't want to wait for it. So when we look at our schedule, if we put the right ingredients in there, what we got to do is we got to make the pain of not following our schedule greater than the pain of following it. So we set up standards. If you have something in your schedule and you decide not to do it, maybe what you do is you carry around a $100 bill in your pocket. And if you don't follow your schedule for that hour, you instantly have to give away a $100 bill. Because the reality is if you follow your schedule, we can know predictably what your outcome is going to be. For example, I knew what my income was going to be because I knew what I put into the schedule this year would produce it. I know what my income is going to be next year because I know what I can put in my schedule will produce it. And the reality is most of us are just want to fly by the seat of our pants, and that's what we call children. If you're a professional, you will do things that will give you predictable results.
No, that's 100% what it is. It's an adolescent way of looking at the world. And unfortunately, real estate tends to attract a lot of people like that because there is freedom. And the problem is you get time freedom, but if you take advantage of the time freedom, you don't get financial freedom.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like the whole idea about the $100 thing. I mean, we talk about the $20 challenge to make someone's day and that whole thing, but the whole $100, if you carry around $100 and you fuck up, then you literally have to pay $100. I will guarantee you something. If you're truly wanting to build your business, you will fuck up one time. You will never do it again.
Because you feel that pain immediately, and you're like, well, that was stupid. Why didn't I just do what I said I was going to do?
Mm-hmm. It's not that hard. It's really not that hard. Own it for a week. If you guys can't, if it just doesn't work with your time in your life, change it for next week, but then stick to that calendar. It's that simple. I mean,
so can I sell something real quick?
Not your body, right?
No. I got pissed off the other day on a phone call, and I decided on December 8th, I'm going to do a marathon on time management. Here's what it looks like. We're going to start at 8:30 after I drop my kids off at school. And anybody who signs up, I'm going to stay on Zoom however long it takes for everybody to have a schedule going into January that's going to work for them to reach their goals, which means it may be a 13, 14, 15-hour phone call. From there, we're going to once a month have another marathon phone call where all we're doing is talking time management. And so there will be a total of 13 calls. You'll also get my calendar that I put together on the 36 to Life models, and that's going to be $365 to participate in that. That's basically $1 a day to help you get on track with your time management.
Man.
Let me stop you. Let me stop you. Let me go on record as saying, count me in as the first contestant.
Perfect.
Ooh.
And
you
so
You can send your check to 15 Railroad Avenue, Danville, California.
Greg, that was at least 6 seconds of stuff that didn't need to be said. That was not on time management. Let's get back on task.
All right.
Okay, so I love it, Hank. All right, so let's dive back into like setting standards. So how do you arrive at the standards that you put into your calendar? So walk me through that process a little bit deeper, because you're looking at basically saying, look at your calendar and project that 12 months in the future. I don't think most agents really understand how to do that. They don't understand how to look at their schedule. Number one, they don't really understand how to look at their schedule accurately, right? Because you'd have to actually track your time to do it. But let's say they do that and they come up with, okay, here's how I'm spending my time now. I don't think most agents really know how to project that in the future and understand how that translates into how many deals they're actually going to do versus how many deals they would like to do. So walk us through that process a little bit.
It kind of lost me a little bit. Yet here's what I think I heard. Mm-hmm. What we're going to do is we're going to figure out how much money you want to make. And then we're going to find out a lot of different ways that you can get there. By all the different ways that you can get there, whether you're working with buyers or sellers, there's going to be a math equation that can be had on how many hours it takes for you to do those transactions. Then what we're going to do is we're going to put in your schedule what it takes in order to do those transactions. For example, I preach 50-25-1. It's a social media strategy that will give you 50 connections a day, 20 contacts, 5 conversations, 1 powerful conversation, which will predictably get you to where you need to be. And I find that 36 transactions a year is going to be the most profitable, where you don't have to have this huge freaking team. You're going to net the most amount of money. So that's where we base it off of from there. And then what we do is we just start filling it into your schedule, and then we make adjustments and we check in. Hey, are we on track? Are we off track? Do we need to increase or decrease? And it sounds complicated, yet it's actually pretty simple, because if you follow your schedule, then we're just tweaking. We're not overhauling. And see, the reality of this is I think that it's going to take me a full day with people to help them work through their scenario. That's why I'm doing a full day marathon, because this isn't a 30-second answer, because there's so many if-then statements on it. And so what we're going to do is we're going to set our schedules up to match our priorities, and then we're going to look at how many hours we want to work. I work 9 to 5. Guys, I could easily go into 80 hours. Greg's seeing my schedule. He's seeing the demand. And yet I choose to work 9 to 5. I either get it done or I don't get it done.
Yeah, you really do. But the thing about it is that you're religious and relentless about that schedule. And that creates scarcity, which then therefore people are very, like as you're saying, is, time on task. They are very, they're very religious about being there. This is my time frame from this minute to this minute. End of story. You're jumping from this, from one appointment to the next. And they respect that because you demand it. A lot of us are loosey-goosey. I just move on.
Like I have, if somebody wants time with me and they don't show up, I'm like, woo, lottery of time, because I've got standards around when I get a lottery of time. I know exactly how I'm going to spend that time. It's like bam, 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 and then I cut them out of my life. I mean, if people don't walk into my standards, they're just cut out. And I turn relationships on and off real quick. And if you show up as a motherfucker, I'll just cut you out and move on.
I just love the fact you've said motherfucker like 3 times. It just warms my soul.
It's the only show that I actually will say it on. Like when I coach, I don't say it because you guys are a little bit more loosey-goosey. Yeah, in my living room, we don't say motherfucker all the time. In your living room, it's like part of the language.
It's the culture, man.
I think it goes straight into the hymnals that go into the back of the pews of the Church of McDaniel.
Church of McDaniel. Hashtag Church of McDaniel.
That's right.
Lord.
All right, so Hank, this is really good. I want you to explain a little bit more about what you mean by the lottery of time, because I've run into that, and I love this approach to it because it's true. You're going to have people, appointments fall through, calls drop off, whatever. But if you don't have a plan for what you're going to do at the time, then it just ends up honestly, it ends up going into 2 things: email processing, and which leads to putting out fires, especially in real estate, and it leads to social media, but usually not your 50, 20, 5, and 1. It usually leads to just consumption, right? Stalking, voyeurism. So what's your, how do you set up, and not necessarily for yourself, but for agents, how do you help them set up when they get a lottery of time, what do you spend it on?
Well, here's what we do is we identify what's important to you. So they're a relationship. So if you have clients that you're in relationship with and something comes up, if they're an A in your life, what you're going to do is you're going to respond to them and you're going to respond appropriately. And then if there's no A's that you need to reach out to, then you go to your B's. And if there's no B's that's time sensitive, you get, if something's not time sensitive and they're a B, then you get it in your schedule to follow up with them. You don't just respond to them immediately. You put it in your schedule so you get predictable results. Now, through the relationships, they know how you communicate. And that's why no one ever calls me anymore, because they know if they want me, they get me on Facebook Messenger or they send me a Voxer. And then if I don't have an A or B that I need to respond to, then I have what is called my sticky note list. And my sticky note list are things that I need to get done, yet I can't figure out where to fit them in my schedule. For example, I need to do a video for one of my launches that I'm doing. So I don't have time to put it in my schedule, so I'm waiting for the lottery of time, and then I'll do the video, and then I'll send it off. And because I don't believe in to-do lists, you either have a priority list, which is in your schedule, or you have sticky notes like this where you want to get to it when you get the lottery of time.
Perfect. It's funny you mention that, because that's something that I learned in a slightly different format from Frank at Viral Marketing. So he has, I don't think I have one around here, just a plain spiral notebook that he keeps all the projects that he's working on that are exactly that. So if they don't have like a timeline assigned to them to the point where they're in his calendar as time block investments, then he just keeps the notebook on them. And at the end of every day, he just kind of unloads the stuff that's in his head that needs to be added onto that list and crosses the things off that he got on. So it's not a to-do list, right? It's completely optional. And like you said, you can turn it into sticky notes, or it can be a notepad, but it's something I need to revisit again, because I did it for a while and I haven't been consistent about it, and that freaking works.
Well, and I hear this from agents all the time, is they want to have systems in place, yet they want to have it all right now. So with a lottery of time, let's say you put one system in a month. If you've been in the business for 5 years, you'd have 60 dialed in systems. Yet people aren't willing to be consistent because they want everything right now. What is your pain points, and what can you do on a consistent basis to overcome that pain point? And then put it in your schedule. So if your P&L, for example, if you're watching this and you're an agent and you don't have a P&L, you're being a little baby, meaning you're acting like a child. Know your freaking numbers. You say that you're a business person, get a freaking P&L and know whether or not you're making money or if you're broke. And chances are you probably owe the IRS money if you don't have a P&L. And you know what? That shit will get real quick if you don't grow up and start treating this like you're a business person and not a child. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. No, I think it's really important that people actually really do need to see and you hear that, because I mean, you browbeat us with that, last week. If your notebook is anywhere near you, Hank, can you pull that in your notebook and show them the type of notebook that you use, guys? He gave all of us one of these, and dude, show them how you can pull papers out, how you can put them back in. I love this notebook. It is so cool.
So it has little things on it like that, so you can pull pieces of paper inside and out, and it just allows you to keep everything up to date. I mean, if I ever lost this notebook, my world would be a mess. Yet, you got to keep your P&L in front of you. You got to keep your things in front of you, like what Frank was talking about with having that notebook. Well, sometimes you want to tear a page out. This allows you to redo a page and then put it appropriately where it is. It's called Tool Notebook, TUL notebook system. It's awesome.
Interesting.
So can I ask a question here?
Gene, please.
Yes, please.
As long as it's on time management, because otherwise we'll kick you off the show.
No, totally. It is totally on time management. I mean, you probably see my furrowed brow here. This stuff is as painful to me, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Not that I don't like to talk about it. I know it happens to be one of my my retardants when I do business. I'm curious. Like, I'm going to go back to what Hank said about he's got a video that he wants to do. For a new service that's coming out, and that goes on his sticky note, not into his time block. Where's that line drawn? How do you figure out what is a time block versus what is something that, like, listen, I'll get to it, but it might be next Tuesday. Like, tell me your thought process when you sit down Sunday night to break the week out. What's the differentiator there?
So I print off my schedule every single week, and what I do is I assign dollar amounts to every hour that I'm putting into my schedule. And so I know exactly which each day is going to produce based on the activities, because I figured out the mathematical equation because I've been consistent. So for example, I know what each day that I put in is going to produce for the month. And then I just hold them accountable. And I know every time that I go away from my schedule, it changes the predictability. So when it's something like a video, that's not a predictable income for me. So that happens whenever I get a lottery of time, and there's no way that I'm going to put a video into my schedule because it's not predictable on the income that it's going to produce.
I think what you just said there is one of the things that none of us really quite understand the power of that last comment. Yeah. We put things into our calendar that's busy work, not predictive income generating work. I know a lot of us, guilty as charged, we've put stuff into our calendar to make our calendar look more robust and full of things to do, when in reality, it's like taking a bike, spinning the wheels, and they're never touching pavement, but you feel really good about spinning those wheels. Yes.
Now, here's where people might be saying, all Hank cares about is money. Bullshit. If you see, my family's my number one thing. The reason I'm so fanatical about my time blocking is I take my kids to school. At 5 o'clock, I'm done, and I'm present with the family, doing dishes, I'm doing laundry, I'm participating, and I don't work 60, 78 hours a week. I work 9 to 5, and that's it. You know, if I do work outside of that, it's going to be a very specific, short amount of time, and it's going to be with people who are A's in my life, because I will not spend time outside of 9 to 5 with anybody who's not an A. Period.
You know, in the book, The Prosperous Coach, it talks about, to the fact, and back me up on this one, Hank, that there was a coach that was making $200,000 a year. So a pretty healthy income, right? But he was going like a chicken with his head cut off, running here and there, helter-skelter. But what happened is he learned to pump the brakes, slow down. The cash, the real revenue is in the time when you're not running around, your steal time, when you're calm, when you're thinking. Take an hour, 30 minutes. Do something to sit and be completely calm and restful. You let your brain work through problems. He went in 8 weeks. He was going, bam, $600,000 in income. I mean, Edison, he one of the greatest inventors in all of human history. He would go and spend an hour every day fishing, but he could never catch a single fish. And so they're going like, well, this is like the greatest inventor in all of history. Why is he the worst fisherman? And they asked him, you know, Edison, why don't you catch any fish? He goes, well, I don't use any bait. And they're like, wait, what? Why don't you use any bait? He says, well, because when I'm out there, you know, when you're fishing, no humans bother you, and neither do the fish. You know, and that hit me like, when's the last time you guys sat down and really got some good time thinking and really going deep on problems? There was one more story, and I'll get it back to you guys. There was a guy, a CEO of a company walking through his building. It was a game company, and he sees this guy sitting in a cubicle, had a window, small little window. And the CEO is just staring at this guy, because this guy is just staring out the window. And the CEO just starts watching this guy. The guy stared out the window 15, 20, 30, 45 minutes, hour 30, out 45, 2 hours. The CEO is about ready to blow his top. Goes to the manager of that individual and goes, what the blip is going on? This guy's staring out the window. And the manager goes, well, yeah, that's what he does. Well, why do you allow him to do that? Well, here's the one that came up with our last 2 years' biggest games. The guy got a private office with a much bigger window the next day. You know, your thinking time is more powerful than you know. And a lot of us don't really, you know, there's so much confusion in our life. And the mainstream media, you know, is designed to distract you from what's going on in day-to-day life. If you can shut that noise off and get present with yourself, and really start learning to what makes you tick and what is important to you. Like Hank is more than devoted to his family, his clients, and to his business. Those are his priorities. What are yours?
I excel in those. Everything else, I'm like below average.
Well, so you're saying they're not good in hockey? I took to everyone.
Hockey, I freaking owned the game last night. I did. And yet outside of that, like I don't have friends outside of work. Why? Because the reality is I'm not willing to invest the time. And so if people need time right now and they're not a client or their family, it's just not going to happen, because I'm not willing to have that compound effect. I want to look back and say, you know what, I was the best freaking dad that I could be, which requires time. And I'm not willing to give it up to hang out with friends once a week.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think where that comes from, Hank, I just wanted to point this out for people that may have not caught one of your previous episodes. Where this comes from is that core belief that you have that anything that I say yes to is saying no to something else, and maybe even something I've already said yes to. And that's one of those things that it's a internal belief, and it's something it's so ingrained in you that it's kind of part of your decision-making process. I'm still trying to install it into my brain as a part of my decision-making process, because that does not come naturally. I don't think it does for a lot of us. And that's where that comes from. So when you're confronted with that opportunity where you'd like it's something you'd like to do, it's maybe even a heck yeah,
Yeah.
You have that filter that goes, if it's not a hell yeah, if it doesn't fit with the things that I've already committed to, I can't do it. Doesn't matter, even if I wanted to do it.
Well, because we underestimate the compounding effect of our decisions, right? Our results are the results of a lot of small little decisions. So I no longer make small decisions because we sat down as a family and with my wife on where our priorities were. And then we set standards around where we say yes and where we say no. So I no longer have to think, because when we think, we react. And if we react, we don't get predictable results. So now I just respond because I already know what the answer is based on standards that I've set.
That's powerful, dude. That's great stuff. It really is good.
So so let's throw the gauntlet down here, Johnson, Gene. Based on what was, Hank was just talking about, what are some of your standards that you're not going to be willing to let slip? Crickets.
I'm going to pledge right now to no longer take off-book calls from Greg.
Oh, fuck off.
It's going to be a sacrifice.
Matt, your music's important to you. And something tells me when you're doing your music, you're a better person to be around.
Mm-hmm.
So a standard should be that you get your fill of music that you need in order to be a nice human being, and put it in your schedule and hold yourself accountable. Like a standard for me is taking my kids to school, because the compound effect of taking my kids to school every single day, it falls in line with my priorities. I get to know the people at the school. I get to know the other parents. And in any single slit, you might say, well, that wasn't the best use of an hour of time because you guys didn't even talk. Yet the reality is the compound effect of me taking the kids to school every single day when I look back on the last 2 years of doing that, like I can't put a price tag on the value of that compound effect of those drives. You can't put a price tag on it.
You know what? Yeah. My dad made a priority to take me to school, and he was so batshit crazy when I was growing up. I mean, I barely saw the guy, but he coached my baseball team, and he took me to school. And I will never, ever forget listening. He was driving in his old, 1989 Mercedes E-Class, had a cassette tape player, by the way. And we were listening to to old rock and roll back from when he was growing up, and he would teach me all the songs, and we would sing along in the car. I will never forget those times, ever. And it was simply by him making a decision to take us to school a couple of days a week. And so I completely agree with you about the compound effect of being around young kids when dad is cool, when being around the parents is cool. And then when you grow up, you still have those great memories to look back on. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And
listen, just to compound that, you don't really realize how powerful what you just said is until you don't have that anymore. I was 19 when my old man left. And I say left, he died. He died of leukemia. So I wouldn't give anything back for one more car ride. So I see what you're saying, and I think you should enjoy what you have while you have it, because it won't be there forever. That's just the way.
You guys see a video that I did the other day, last night. I had an hour in my house by myself, and it's those silent moments. I know that these times of craziness and shit shows are going to go away quickly, and so when all the chaos is going on, I'm embracing that and not wishing time away. And it's because the priorities are there. So many people say, hey, well, I got to do this because I'm justifying it. No, if you're a bullshit dad, step up and put it in your schedule that's important to be a dad, because it doesn't matter how much fucking money you make. Kids don't care about that. Show up and be a dad.
Yeah. I mean, I'll remember one thing. So we had my dad had one of his worst years. This is years and years and years and years and years ago. I didn't know. I was too little of a kid. And my parents could not afford Christmas. Straight up, dude. No fucking money whatsoever. But what they did is they went down and bought Nintendo. They came with Duck Hunt and Mario Brothers, had the gun and the 2 controllers. It on record is still my favorite Christmas, because all we did as a family sat around, played Duck Hunt, played Mario Brothers, and I had no clue, because I don't give a fuck about the money. I just cared about spending time with my parents. It was epic.
So great book right here. I'm not able to say it legally. So
The One Thing.
Yep. When you gamble with your time, it's on page 79 on The One Thing. When you gamble with your time, you may be placing a bet you cannot cover, even if you're sure you can win. Be careful that you can live with what you lose. So guys, when we talk about time management, so many times we justify things like working all the time because that gives us instant significance. A lot of times being a dad doesn't, meaning sometimes it's your kid not being pissed off at you or not being peed on for the day is your big win for the day. It's a longer term significance. So we make up these things that we work all the time because we're looking after our family. It's because we get more out of it, and we're not willing to say, like, subconsciously, I could work all the time. Consciously, I choose to be a family man. So that's why I follow my schedule. And I make my schedule my bitch, because otherwise, unconsciously, I can justify working 60, 70 hours a week.
Yeah. But you know what? Yeah. That's not what makes the memories. Ever.
Nope.
You know? So guys, look in your lives right now. If you're watching me live, if you're listening to my voice in your headphones and you're working out or doing whatever you're doing, listening to the podcast after the fact, I want you to take a second here, and I want you to go really deep. I want you to be honest just with yourself inside your brain. Where are you lacking, and where could you grow in your schedule? And if you allow yourself to be 100% honest with yourself, you don't have to share this with anybody, and then go write down in a private journal where and how you want to be better, I guarantee you that it will show up in your public schedule if you put it in your private schedule. You know, it's just like eating or drinking or anything else. I love the saying, what you eat in private will show up in public. And the same thing with your calendar and your time management. You know, what you do in private is going to show up in public, either working or not working. So which way do you want to look, guys? And Hank showed me how to be really brutally honest with myself. It is honestly one of the best things I've ever done in my entire life, to be honest with myself, because it gave myself the ability to be vulnerable. Once you're vulnerable, then you can start to learn.
Can I write this word down? Shame. So many of us have shame about our real selves, and we feel bad about certain needs or desires or thoughts or whatever the case may be. When you can open up and be 100% honest with yourself, it creates a whole new world, because then you're not fighting internally. And so you guys might be saying, I thought we were talking about time management here. Yet I think part of it is being real with yourself on having your schedule reflect your priorities, and having your schedule reflect what's going to give you the predictable results, and who you're lying to if you don't follow your schedule.
Yeah, that's good. Mm-hmm. That's really good.
That's really good.
So yeah, I mean, who do you lie to when you don't follow your schedule, Hank? I mean, is it everyone in your life? Is it just that person that is or is not in that time zone? Is it yourself? Is it a smattering of everything? I mean, how does that generally look for the normal person?
Well, let's look at from a listing agent. A listing agent knows what they can put in their schedule to get their seller predictable results. And so they go and pitch, and they go and get the seller to sign up with you based on what you're telling them they're going to do. So if you say that you're going to circle prospect around their listing to look for clients, and then you don't do it, you're a fucking liar. So I think what you're doing is you're lying to your listing, and you should go back to them and fire yourself, because what you said you were going to do isn't what you're going to do. So if you have a schedule and you're saying this is how I get the results, and then you don't follow it, you're a hypocrite. Mm-hmm. And I think you're fraudulent. So I look at, when I don't follow my schedule, who suffers? It's my clients, it's my family, it's myself, it's my health, it's my relationships. And so to me, I'm a man of integrity, and I'm gonna do what I say I'm gonna do. Now, if I don't, I immediately say, hey, here's what I didn't do. That's why I say I don't give more than 10% of my time away from a charity standpoint, and I follow that. And it's not because I'm not a nice guy. It's just I care about my family more than I care about others.
I think that's important.
You know what I want from you, Hank?
What's that?
A hug.
I want besides, who doesn't want to hug Hank? He's very huggable. No, what I want from you, Hank, is I want
flexes.
Ray Dalio is coming out, or has come out, with a book called Principles, right?
Yeah.
I want the Hank Avink Principles. I want the book on the 10 things that guide your life, because if you get the principles down, it's like an operating system, and then it changes the decisions that you make, and it can stop a lot of the situational questions, which I'm sure you get. And that's part of why people go into coaching, is they want answers to the situational questions, when what they really don't have is they don't have the right principles, right?
Well,
that's what I want.
When you have the right principles, there's really no decisions to be made, because you've already made them. And that's why I like the saying, patience with a sense of urgency, because you really don't have to make decisions. And it's funny, on our secret page, we were talking about, I have a lot of quotes and a lot of sayings that they do. And so we're looking to come up with a name. And one of the names was Hankisms. Another one was Hankasms. Another one was Hank's Principles. I mean, we're having all sorts of fun. So we're already in the works of doing that. I'm looking at our planning schedule for next week on Friday. I'm looking to commit to write the book 36 to Life. And it's all about not only having a high net income, it's about having a high net life, because it doesn't matter how much money you make. For example, I will not help people make more money if it's just going to make their life more fucked up. That's why if you coach with me, you have a P&L. That's why if you coach with me, I know your priorities. If you coach with me, your schedule will match your priorities. Otherwise, I'll fire you. I mean, if your priority is family, you're going to show up as a family man first. And if you're not, I'll fire you, because I'm not going to participate in the bullshit.
Mm-hmm. Well, the thing I love about that the most is that you're making people own their own reality, not just live in what they think they want to do it. Look, it's either you're in or you are out.
Yep.
End of discussion. Do it or don't. It's okay either way, but I'm not going to waste my time if you don't do it.
And there's no judgment. I mean, that's the thing, is I could care less what you do. Here's what I care about is to have your reality match what you're looking to do. So if you're telling me one thing and you're doing something else, I will point it out to you, and I'm not going to give you ibuprofen. I'm going to take my thumb, push it in your back, and make you realize how fucked up it is that you're thinking, because you're kidding yourself on what you believe that's going to happen on as far as an outcome based on your activities.
I, for one, have felt that thumb. It's not pleasant.
Yeah, here's the thing is, Greg, once you got awareness around it, you were able to do something about it. I mean, the people that I coach are smart and they're resourceful. Yeah, and once they get awareness around it, they're the ones that do the work. All I do is have a conversation, and if that conversation sticks, that's on their choice, not on mine. And if it sticks, then they choose to do something about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I took massive action, and I told you several times. I mean, well, I'm not going to talk about that here, but there's some interesting changes coming down the pipe, and a lot of it was stemmed from a conversation that Hank and I had, one-off conversation that has stuck with me. Fuck, dude, how long has that been? Like 6 months, 8 months? I don't know how long that conversation has been, but it has resonated with me.
Here's the thing with that conversation was I cared more about you than our relationship, because I took my thumb and I pushed on you and pissed you off. And yet it was something I believe you needed to think about. And here's where your life will grow exponentially. When you can care more about the person in front of you than you do the relationship that you have with them, it brings in authentic relationships. And I mean, when you have authentic relationships that surround you, you'll never have another want or desire again, because you help enough people get what they want, you'll get what you want.
Yeah, but in that conversation, you also gave me permission to take another step in life, when in reality there have been multiple layers of blockage for me not to make that move. And you asked me one question that got me to think for the next 6-8 months, that then I was able to take a jump and be okay with it after I cleared other blockages from other people in my life. And I feel amazing moving forward with it. But it just showed me that it was okay for that shift to take place.
Well, and here's the thing: was there any commission breath on any of that conversation?
No, in all honesty, if there was anything, it was the opposite of it. Yeah. It's pretty much, look, I don't know if I want to work with you. This is what's going to happen.
Well, in real estate agents, as soon as you start coming from abundance and you really just care about that person in front of you, your business will explode. If they shouldn't sell their house and they should refinance to free up some cash flow, tell them that. Do whatever is best for that person in front of you, regardless of what's in it for you. And I guarantee you, some of the most referrals I got selling real estate were people that I convinced not to sell.
Yeah. Oh, Greg, you've seen that with your dad over and over and again.
We helped a guy make $800,000 net to him by telling him not to sell 20 years ago. I mean, yeah, he went down to Texas and bought not one, but 2 houses cash.
Hey, can I share something real quick?
Yes.
I just found out my residual income for what I spend less than 3 hours a week on is $4,200 a month this month.
You love doing it. Every day I was with him last week. It's at this number. It's at this number. I'm like,
it's like just hitting a little casino machine. So about every hour I'll go and hit my residual income button, and it's like, oh, just went up again.
We're chasing you, buddy. We're coming for you.
Yeah, that dopamine hit is just feeling so good. You're like,
all right, guys. Well, we are at bingo. We got to wrap things up. So, Hank, how do people get into your world, get connected with you?
They don't. Follow me on Facebook. I mean, literally, I just looked. I'm like 5 weeks out. Follow me on Facebook. I do a course, 36 to Life. We're sold out right now. We'll be launching another one in December, which will be a 4-week course. It's limited to 36 people. I've sold out every single 36 to life I've ever done. We provide massive value. If you think I suck, we'll give you a refund with no questions asked. And yeah, just follow me on social media, and there will be opportunities. And yeah, and then December 8th, we're still working on the funnel for that. It's going to be $365 for a marathon of time management. It will basically be a forum like we're talking about right here, where I will not stop that call until every single question has been answered. And here's what it looks like. 8:30 till noon, we will be doing time management. I'll take a break for lunch, and then we'll go from probably 12:30 or 1 o'clock till 4 o'clock when I go to my family counseling. Yes, we go to family counseling. Marriages are tough. Families are tough, and we need help with it. And then when I come back, we will continue until everybody has their question answered. Now, if you get off the call at any time, you're out. So if you decide to leave, you can't get back on because it's going to be a marathon. You can't come out and leave, yet I will be on as long as everybody has questions, and you're there the whole time.
So let me get that clear. So if Matt and I and Gene were to sign up for that, then even after we had our calendars set up, we would still stay on and learn and watch everybody else's?
If you choose to. If you choose to get off, you get off. I'm going to basically stay on the phone as long as anybody has any questions. Yet if you get off, you're out of the call. Now, we'll still have the monthly call where you guys can have the question and answer to the secret Facebook page. Yet for the marathon day, if you choose to leave, and it's part of time management, right? If you spend one day and you binge on time management and you get your schedule wrapped out for the next year at a super high level, that will probably be the most profitable day that you spend in 2017 for 2018.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that.
Because you can't cover enough in an hour. You can't cover enough in 2 hours. And by listening to other people setting up their schedule, it's going to make a huge difference.
Yeah, because you get to learn. Maybe they have a better mode of like getting where you want to be. Maybe a little trick, a little tip. Like I listened to a guy on lead gen scripts and objections do his outbound calls. I changed my outbound message immediately because he had a way better message than I was doing. Radically transformed. I mean, as of my calls yesterday, guys, I have 61 callbacks sitting on my voicemail right now from a simple shift. So I mean, sit with Hank, sit with the other people, learn, digest it. If it's in the background, let it be in the background, but stay on the call.
Like today, my sponsor, Rockstar, keeps me going every single day. Crack one open at 10 o'clock, and I'm consistent with it. Therefore, they send me consistent paychecks. Thank you, Rockstar, for keeping me going.
Wow, nicely done.
That's funny. All right, Gene, how do people connect with you?
GeneVolpe.com. Dude, you got to finish it for me. I'm waiting for you to finish it for me. GeneVolpe.com.
I'm gonna get you like a segment. All right, guys. So let's finish off with that. Greg, they can book calls with either one of us, and why?
Because I don't know, because you want to waste some time. No, because if you guys want to talk about doing one-on-one coaching, if you guys want to do one-on-one coaching with me or talk about the opportunity to, guys, I want you to go to Book McDaniel. I'm going to put the link here. And you can do a 30-minute call. Don't book a 60-minute, please. Please book a 30-minute call. And this is kind of like a first date. We're going to see if we're going to be a good fit. And if we want to go to a second date, which would be a 60-minute call
Real quick, do not take his time if you are not looking to hire him as a one-on-one coach. Meaning, if you are broke as a joke and you don't have money, like any money, and you're not willing to go clean toilets or go clean houses, do not take up his time. That is thievery, and you're stealing from him. So only book a half-hour call with him if you are truly looking to hire a coach.
Thank you. I completely appreciate that. And I've been trying not to be such a dick about that. But yes, I completely agree, guys. I give enough free stuff away. If you guys want to hire a one-on-one coach to really help you with production, lead gen, scripts, the whole, anything that's fucking you up, book the time, bookmcdaniel.com. And then they can go to Book Johnson for what, Matt?
If you guys want to install marketing systems in your business and you have a short-term need for let's say a 2 to 3 month project where you have something specific that you need to get going in your business. So this would be more for people that are not necessarily at the team level, but approaching that or getting to the point where maybe you already have or you're about to hire an assistant or you want to start adding leverage into your business. That's where I can really help.
guys. Well, you have it right there. Please follow the links. Matt will put his link in. I just put my link in. Guys, we do the show. Look, let's be honest. I don't care if you guys sign up. I don't care if you guys don't sign up for one-on-one coaching. The number one thing is that we love you. We do this show for you. And if you can afford the one-on-one, great. If you can't, great. But just keep coming back, keep watching, keep learning, keep growing, keep thriving. Share this podcast with people so that they can grow and thrive as well. Right. Hank, where can they find you, Hank the Tank?
Facebook, just follow me. Don't friend me. I'm already way over. Just follow me, and then we'll connect and then contact. And if we have a conversation, then let's become friends.
Cool. All right. Anybody else?
Okay. That's all.
Okay, guys. Until next week. Peace out, ninjas. We gone.